You think you know your rights as a passenger. You show your identification. You wait patiently in line. You follow every instruction without ever questioning it. You assume the airline is already doing everything by the book. But here is the truth. Nobody prints anywhere near your boarding pass. Airports and airlines are quietly sitting on rights that could save you time, money, and stress on every single trip you take. Rights that exist right now, written into official policy, buried in fine print most travelers never bother to read. Rights that seniors are fully entitled to but almost never use, simply because nobody ever tells them. Today, we are uncovering 10 forgotten travel rights that every senior deserves to know before stepping into an airport again. Some of these could save you hundreds of dollars in a single trip. Others could save your entire vacation from falling apart. Stay with us, because the final one surprises almost everyone who hears it for the first time. None of these require a special membership, a premium ticket, or a lifetime of frequent flying. They simply require knowing the right question to ask and the right moment to ask it. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to use every single one of them. Before we go any further, if even one of these rights feels useful to you, take a moment to follow this channel, because we share simple, honest travel guidance built specifically for older travelers every single week at no cost in just a few seconds. So you never miss a right that could protect your next trip. Now, let us begin with the first forgotten right, the one hiding in plain sight on almost every airline website. Right number 1, hidden senior airfare discounts you will never see displayed online. Most travelers open a booking site, type in their destination, and trust whatever price appears on the screen, assuming that number is final and fair. It rarely is. Many airlines quietly maintain senior fare categories, reduced rates, or special discount codes that never appear in the standard online search results, because the algorithm is built to sell the most profitable fare first, not the cheapest one available to you. These discounts often exist only through a phone reservation, a loyalty program tier, or a direct request at the counter, and the airline has no obligation to advertise them louder than the higher-priced options. Some routes offer senior pricing that can be 10, 15, even 20% lower than the standard economy fare shown online, yet almost nobody asks because almost nobody knows to ask. Smart move: before booking anything, call the airline directly and simply ask if a senior fare or age-based discount applies to your route, and compare that number against the online price before committing. A single phone call, just a few minutes long, can quietly return money to your pocket that most travelers give away without ever realizing it. Some airlines even keep separate senior desks or dedicated phone lines specifically for this purpose, staffed by agents trained to explain eligibility, age requirements, and route availability in plain language. Others require nothing more than mentioning your date of birth during the booking call, with the discount applied automatically once confirmed. The savings may seem small on a single ticket, but across several trips a year, they quietly add up to hundreds of dollars that most travelers simply hand over without ever knowing there was another option. But pricing is only the beginning, because the next forgotten right involves something most seniors assume they have to pay for, when in reality it is often free. Right number 2, free airport buggy shuttle service between terminals for senior travelers. Long terminal walks are one of the most exhausting parts of modern air travel, especially in massive international hubs where one gate can sit nearly a mile from another. Many travelers simply grit their teeth and walk the entire distance, assuming that is the only option available to them, when in fact, most major airports operate electric buggy carts specifically to transport passengers who need assistance covering long distances. These carts are frequently free of charge for senior travelers, and staff are trained to prioritize older passengers making tight connections or struggling with distance. The problem is that almost no airport actively announces this service near the gate, and many travelers walk right past an empty cart without knowing it was there for them the entire time. Smart move: the moment you land or check in, ask any airline representative or ground staff member directly whether shuttle assistance is available for your terminal, and request it before you start walking, not after you are already exhausted halfway there. That short request can turn a painful sprint through a crowded terminal into a calm, comfortable ride that protects your energy for the rest of the trip. In some of the busiest airports, these carts even cut directly through employee corridors or shorter internal paths, saving time as well as effort, and drivers are usually happy to drop passengers as close to the gate as security allows. If a cart is not immediately visible, ask any staff member wearing an airport uniform, not just airline employees, because many of these carts are operated by the airport itself rather than any single carrier. And speaking of comfort, the next right can completely change how your entire boarding experience feels. Right number 3, priority boarding rights that are yours simply by asking at the gate. Many seniors watch families with small children, first-class passengers, and loyalty program elites board first, quietly assuming that priority boarding is a benefit reserved only for people who paid extra or hold a special status. In reality, most airlines allow passengers who need additional time, extra space for medical equipment, or simply a slower pace to request early boarding at no additional cost. This is not a hidden loophole. It is standard policy at most carriers, yet it almost never gets announced out loud at the gate. Staff typically wait for a passenger to step forward and ask, rather than offering it to every senior traveler automatically. That means the right sits there, unused every single day, simply because most travelers assume they have no claim to it. Smart move: when you approach the gate agent, calmly explain that you would benefit from early boarding, and ask if that option is available for your flight. In most cases, the answer is yes, and you gain extra time to store luggage, settle into your seat, and avoid the stressful crush of the main boarding rush. Once you are comfortably seated early, the next forgotten right becomes even more important if your journey involves more than one flight. Early boarding also gives you a calmer moment to organize medication, adjust a seat cushion, or simply catch your breath before the cabin fills with noise and rushing passengers, something that matters far more than most airlines ever acknowledge out loud. If a gate agent seems unsure whether the option applies to you, simply mention that you would appreciate a little extra time boarding, and in most cases, that alone is enough for them to invite you forward with the first group. Right number 4, free airline assistance for tight or difficult connections. Connecting flights create some of the most stressful moments in senior travel, especially when a delayed first leg leaves only minutes to reach a departing gate across a massive airport. Many travelers assume they are entirely on their own in that moment, rushing on foot and hoping for the best, when airlines actually have staff and procedures specifically designed to help passengers make tight connections. This can include a staff member physically walking or escorting you to the next gate, a radio call ahead asking the next flight to hold briefly, or direct transport through employee, only shortcuts that bypass the general terminal crowd. Airlines rarely advertise this service because offering it to every passenger automatically would slow down operations, so it typically activates only when a passenger requests help immediately upon landing. Smart move: the moment your plane lands and you know your connection is tight, tell a flight attendant or gate agent right away and ask for connection assistance before you start walking on your own. Even a short delay in asking can mean the difference between making your flight and watching it leave without you. In larger airports, this kind of assistance can also include a quick transport cart waiting right at the arrival gate, ready to carry you and your bags directly toward the connecting terminal instead of leaving you to navigate signs and escalators alone under pressure. Flight attendants usually know within minutes of landing whether a connection is tight, so speaking up while still seated before the doors even open gives staff the most time to arrange help before you reach the jet bridge. And when things still go wrong despite your best effort, the next right ensures you are not left paying the price alone. Right number 5, flight delay compensation, that airlines almost never volunteer to mention. When a flight is delayed or canceled, most travelers simply accept an apology, reschedule quietly, and move on, assuming nothing more can be done. In many cases, that assumption costs real money. Depending on the length of the delay, the reason behind it, and the specific airline policy or regional regulation involved, passengers can be entitled to meal vouchers, hotel accommodation, rebooking on a different carrier, or even direct monetary compensation. Airlines are rarely eager to bring this up first because every dollar paid to a passenger is a dollar leaving their revenue, so the responsibility almost always falls on the traveler to ask the right question at the right moment. Many seniors simply wait quietly near the gate, assuming complaining will not help, while other passengers who calmly ask about compensation walk away with a hotel room, a meal voucher, or a refund. Smart move: whenever a delay stretches beyond a couple of hours, approach the counter directly and ask what compensation or accommodation policy applies to your specific situation, and keep your boarding pass and any documentation as proof. That single conversation can turn a miserable stranded evening into a comfortable paid-for night at a nearby hotel. It also helps to write down flight numbers, delay times, and the name of any staff member you speak with, because that small record often speeds up compensation requests if the situation needs to be escalated later through customer service. Many travelers give up after the first quiet no from a busy gate agent, when a calm follow-up conversation at the main service counter, away from the chaos of the gate, often produces a very different answer. Speaking of unexpected changes, the next right gives you far more control over your schedule than most travelers realize. Right number 6, same-day flight changes with extra flexibility for senior passengers. Life happens, plans shift, and sometimes the flight you booked no longer fits your day, whether because of fatigue, a missed connection, or simply changing your mind about timing. Many travelers assume changing a flight always means an expensive fee or a long, frustrating phone call, so they simply stick with a schedule that no longer works for them. In reality, many airlines offer same-day flight change options that are either free or available for a very small fee, and some carriers extend additional flexibility specifically for senior travelers or those with documented medical needs. This flexibility often exists quietly within the airline's own policy, available only if a passenger specifically asks a representative rather than trying to change everything through the automated app or website. Smart move. If your schedule shifts unexpectedly on the day of travel, go directly to the counter or call the airline and ask specifically about same-day flight change eligibility rather than assuming your only option is to lose the ticket entirely. That one question can save both money and stress, turning a rigid schedule into something that actually adapts to your day. Some airlines even display this option quietly within their app under a small menu labeled something like flight options or standby, yet the wording is often confusing enough that most travelers scroll right past it without realizing what it actually offers. Asking a real person in person or over the phone almost always produces a clearer answer than trying to decode a confusing app screen while standing in a busy terminal. And once you are safely on your way, the next right protects something even more important than convenience: your health. Right number 7. Medical equipment and prescription items that fly free of standard baggage rules. Many senior travelers quietly worry about the cost or hassle of bringing essential medical equipment, walking aids, oxygen devices, or prescription medication onto a flight, sometimes even leaving needed items behind out of fear they will be charged extra or questioned at security. In truth, most airlines classify approved medical equipment and prescription medication as exempt from standard baggage fees and weight limits entirely, treating them as a necessity rather than luggage. This includes items such as wheelchairs, walkers, CPAP machines, and clearly labeled medication, all of which typically travel free and separate from your normal baggage allowance. The confusion usually comes from unclear signage or staff who assume a passenger already knows the rule, leaving many seniors to pay unnecessary fees or leave behind items they actually needed for comfort and safety. Smart move: before your trip, confirm your airline's specific medical equipment policy directly with a representative, carry documentation for any prescription items if possible, and clearly inform check-in staff that these items are medical rather than general luggage. That simple clarification protects both your health and your wallet at the same time. It also helps to keep medication in its original labeled packaging rather than a generic pill organizer when possible, since clearly labeled items move through security review far more smoothly than loose or unmarked pills. Devices such as walkers or folding wheelchairs can often be checked directly at the gate rather than at the main counter, meaning you can use them comfortably all the way to the aircraft door instead of losing mobility support the moment you check your other luggage. Now that your essentials are protected, the next right can transform where you actually sit for the rest of your flight. Right number 8. Free seat reassignment closer to the front upon simple request. Many seniors book whatever seat the system assigns automatically, assuming their position on the plane is fixed the moment the ticket is purchased. That assumption often costs comfort unnecessarily. Airlines frequently hold back a small number of seats closer to the front of the cabin, specifically for passengers who may need easier access, shorter walking distance, or additional assistance boarding and exiting. These seats are not always advertised as available during booking, yet gate agents or flight attendants can often reassign a passenger closer to the front simply by request, especially when the flight is not completely full. This is not the same as paying extra for premium seating. It is a basic accommodation many travelers never think to ask for. Smart move, once boarding is complete, or even during check-in, politely ask a staff member whether a seat closer to the front is available, explaining that it would make boarding, exiting, or walking easier for you. Many travelers are surprised how often the answer is yes, at no extra charge whatsoever. Flights that are not fully booked often have several empty seats scattered throughout the front cabin sections, and gate staff are usually far more willing to reassign a seat quietly before boarding than to handle a frustrated passenger mid-flight. So asking early in a calm, friendly tone tends to produce the best results. Even a small shift of just a few rows forward can noticeably shorten the walk to the exit, which matters far more than most travelers expect until they actually experience the difference. And while comfort in the air matters greatly, the next right can rescue an entire day when something goes wrong on the ground. Right number 9. Complimentary airport lounge access during long, unexpected delays. Long delays are exhausting under the best circumstances, and for senior travelers standing or sitting in a crowded, noisy terminal for hours, they can feel genuinely draining. Many travelers assume lounge access is a paid luxury reserved only for business class passengers or loyalty program elites, so they simply wait it out in the regular terminal seating without ever asking about alternatives. In reality, during significant delays or cancellations caused by the airline itself, some carriers offer complimentary lounge access as a courtesy, providing a quieter space, comfortable seating, and sometimes complimentary food and drinks while passengers wait. This is rarely announced publicly because offering it automatically to every delayed passenger would be costly, so it typically requires a direct and polite request at the service counter. Smart move, during a lengthy delay, ask the airline representative directly whether complimentary lounge access is being offered due to the disruption, especially if the delay is clearly the airline's responsibility rather than weather-related. A quiet chair, real food, and a calm environment can make an exhausting wait feel manageable instead of miserable. Even when full lounge access is not offered, some airlines provide meal vouchers or discounted food credit for use anywhere in the terminal, which is still worth asking about directly, rather than assuming nothing is available. Staying near the customer service desk, rather than wandering far from the gate, also makes it easier to hear updates and receive these offers the moment they become available, instead of missing them entirely. And for the final forgotten right, we are saving one that many seniors find the most surprising of all. Right number 10, companion gate passes that allow family members or caregivers past security. One of the most stressful parts of senior travel is saying goodbye at security, especially for travelers who feel more comfortable having a trusted companion nearby until the very last possible moment. Many families assume this simply is not allowed anymore, believing that only ticketed passengers may pass through security at all. In truth, many airports and airlines offer gate passes specifically for family members or caregivers accompanying a senior or a passenger who needs additional assistance, allowing that companion to walk all the way to the gate rather than saying goodbye at the checkpoint. This policy typically requires advance notice, an application at the counter, and identification, but it is far more available than most travelers assume. and it can dramatically reduce anxiety for both the traveler and their family. Smart move if you or a loved one would feel more comfortable with a companion present until boarding. Ask the airline in advance about gate pass eligibility and apply as early as possible before the day of travel. That single request can turn a rushed, anxious goodbye into a calm, supported walk all the way to the gate. The process usually involves the companion presenting government-issued identification at the ticket counter, and in some cases printing a simple paper pass that security will recognize. So arriving a little earlier than usual gives everyone enough time to complete the paperwork without feeling rushed. Airlines are generally understanding about this request when a passenger clearly explains the need for extra support, and staff often go out of their way to make the process smooth once they know it matters to you. 10 forgotten rights, quietly available this entire time, simply waiting for someone to ask the right question at the right counter. None of them require special status, a premium ticket, or years of frequent flyer history. They simply require awareness and a little bit of confidence to speak up before assuming the answer is no. If this video helped you see your next trip differently, please share it with a parent, a grandparent, or a friend who travels often, because the people who need this information the most are usually the ones least likely to search for it themselves. And if you want more honest, practical guidance built specifically for travelers who refuse to let confusing airport systems slow them down, stay close, follow along, and keep learning with us, one flight at a time. Which of these 10 forgotten rights surprised you the very most? Tell us honestly in the comments below, and let us know which one you plan to use on your very next trip. Travel confidently. Ask the questions most people are too shy to ask. Speak up at the counter instead of staying quiet in line, and never let silence cost you comfort, money, or peace of mind again on any future trip you take.